Have you ever wondered if the world around you is real? I know this sounds like the beginning of a cheesy sci-fi movie, but it's a question that has been pondered by philosophers for centuries. What we perceive with our senses could be an illusion. Our whole reality could be a figment of our imagination. It may sound insane, but what if I told you there's scientific evidence to support this idea? What if I told you that some scientists believe we're actually living in a computer simulation? Welcome to my channel, and today we're answering the extraordinary question: are we living in the Matrix? The idea that our reality is nothing more than a simulation isn't a new one. Philosophers have been debating the nature of reality for hundreds of years, but it was in 1999 that the idea really took off thanks to the release of the film The Matrix. In the movie, humans were kept as batteries by sentient machines. They lived their lives blissfully unaware that everything they saw, touched, and felt wasn't real. Instead, it was a computer-generated dream world designed to keep them docile. But the idea that we relive in a Matrix world is just the product of a sci-fi movie. Some scientists really believe it could be true. So why do some scientists think we're living in a simulation? Well, there are a number of reasons, but it all starts with the fact that our universe seems to follow the laws of computer programming. For example, everything in our universe is made of bits. We're like digital information. This is pretty strange because if you look at the universe on a larger scale, say at galaxies or black holes, they don't seem to follow these rules. However, when you zoom in and examine the universe more closely, you find that everything is made up of tiny particles, which can either be here or there, like ones and zeros. These particles are like the building blocks of our reality, the ones and zeros that make up our digital world. And it's not just that our universe seems to be made of bits. The laws of physics also seem to follow the rules of computer programming. For example, the uncertainty principle says that you know both the position and momentum of a particle with absolute certainty. This is because the very act of measuring a particle changes its state. It's like a coin toss. You can't know the result before you flip the coin, and once you do flip the coin, the result is fixed. This is exactly how computers work. They use random number generators to simulate uncertainty. This is why some scientists believe that our universe could actually be a computer simulation. If the universe is just a big computer program, then it makes sense that it would follow the rules of computer programming. But there's even more evidence to support this idea. For example, our universe seems to be expanding at a constant rate. This is known as the cosmological constant. It's like the universe is running at full speed ahead, no matter what. This is strange because if our universe is expanding, then it means that space itself is getting bigger. But space is made of particles, and if space is getting bigger, then that means those particles are being created out of nothing. This is a problem because it violates the conservation of energy. But if our universe is a computer simulation, then the programmer could just hard-code the expansion of the universe into the program. This would explain why the universe is expanding at a constant rate. There's even more evidence that our universe could be a computer simulation. For example, there are some physicists who believe that the Higgs boson is actually a digital particle. This is based on the fact that the mass of the Higgs boson appears to be. This means that the mass of the Higgs boson can only be one value or another. It can't be anything in between. This is exactly how digital particles are supposed to behave. If the Higgs boson is a digital particle, then that would mean that our universe is a computer simulation. But some scientists take this idea even further. For example, Roger Penrose believes that our universe is actually a projection from a higher dimensional world. This means that our universe is kind of like a hologram. Everything we see and touch is just an illusion. The real world is the higher dimensional world from which our universe is projected. Penrose believes that this higher dimensional world is what creates the randomness that we observe in our universe. This is because in a higher dimensional world, there would be infinitely more information available. This information could then be projected into our lower dimensional world as noise. This would explain why our universe seems to be full of randomness. But there's even more evidence that we're living in a simulation. For example, some scientists believe that the constants of nature could actually be set by a higher intelligence. This means that things like the speed of light, the gravitational constant, and the strong nuclear force could be set by a programmer. This is a pretty controversial idea, but it's one that's gaining some traction in the scientific community. But what does any of this mean? Does it mean that we're actually living in a computer simulation? Well, it's hard to say. There's no concrete evidence that we're living in a simulation. All we have are some scientists who believe it could be true. But maybe that's enough. Maybe it's not necessary to have absolute proof that we're living in a simulation. Maybe it's enough to simply entertain the possibility. After all, if we are living in a simulation, then that means there's a higher intelligence out there that's more advanced than us. It means that there are other people out there who are more intelligent than us. It means that there's a lot more to the universe than we know. And if that's true, then doesn't that make life a little more exciting? Doesn't it make you wonder what else is out there? What do you think? Are we living in the Matrix? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, Be sure to check out my other videos on the science of the matrix. Thanks for watching.